All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call this meeting to order and have ourselves a Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If we could have a reading of the minutes. All right. Here we go.
Approval of the minutes.
Yeah, approval of the minutes. My mistake. Approval of the minutes.
I'll introduce it.
I'll second.
Motion carries. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Town bills to be paid. From the general fund for February 2026, $28,318.93. From the highway fund, February of 2026, $46,911.75. Fire protection fund for February of 2026, $0.00.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Roll call vote. Sorry, I'm missing a couple of people. It throws me a little off with no one on the ends.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Farrell,
Yes.
Supervisor O'Neill,
Yes. Motion carries. All in favor. All right. Town clerk's monthly report.
conservation license $1.66, death copies $10, faxes $11, dog licenses $25, total town revenues to supervisor $47.66, New York State agriculture markets $5, New York State environmental conservation $28.34, total disbursed $81. Chris Jones from the Stone Creek Community Church would like to use the town hall on March 14th from 7:30 to 12 noon for an appreciation breakfast. Desiree Thomas would like to use the town hall March 22nd from 12:30 to 4:30 for a 5th birthday party. Cindy Cameron would like to use the park pavilion June 6th. Rain day is June 13th, all day for the other side of the creek. And Alyssa would like to use the park July 18th for a birthday party from 12 to 4. Dave Farrell would like to use the park for the Stony Creek Rod and Gun Club August 7th and 8th from 6 to 5 for a Second Amendment celebration. And this is the ASCAP renewal for license fee for the music. That's it.
Okay. I don't think that there's any conflict in those dates, so I have no issue with those being approved. Can I have a motion for them to be approved?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. The dates for reservations have been approved, as there is no conflict with them. Moving on to old business. I'd like to happily announce that the highway garage furnace has been installed. It's operating as it should, and it's efficient. There are one item that I'd like to discuss, probably under new business, to add to it. but it would be a separate expense, and that is a auto flow valve and a flow check valve. Nate, you being familiar with furnaces, understand that it would just regulate the temperature pressure so that the furnace has a blow off if it gets too hot, and it won't need to be refilled if it evaporates any of the coolant inside it. It's
Yeah,
pretty,
so that one wasn't plumbed into water, that was plumbed into
A barrel.
a barrel with a pump.
Mhm.
So,
so yeah, and
the old one.
yeah, and I have no issue with that setup, but it would be to just have a flow check valve and then have your normal valve on it. You know what I mean? Your one-way fill would be the correct way to install it. Because that obviously the flow check valve keeps it isolated so it can't backflow, and then having the pressure sense so that it knows what temperature, you know, what pressure to keep the whole system at so it never runs dry. I'll get quotes on that. There is the Remington and Blacktop invoice that you came across in there. So as we had discussed last month, Mr. Newton had donated $150 worth of that gear, and Remington Blacktop is still outstanding balance of $1,500, which we had questioned, and we were not. It was unknown at that time to be whether it was accurate or not. They have not been paid, so I would like to get them paid and take care of. That way the park is in the right direction before the spring gets here. I'd like to thank the Highway Garage for all of their hard work. The guys have been doing excellent with these storms and trying to use as little salt as possible while still getting the maximum amount of use out of it. That's huge. Makes for better cleanup. And as we had in our, also the ASCAP, as we had in our correspondence, which is basically a fee that we will pay to play music so that we don't violate the rights of the people who own said music. Even though we're not the ones playing it, we're sponsoring the concert. It's, I believe I did the math on it, and it's less than $500 a year. Frank's been doing it for the previous years leading up, and the county does it as well. It's basically the cost of doing business, but it is good to know that there is a fee for everything. And that's all I have for the old business. Is there anything that needs to be brought up for old business?
Do you need a motion to pay the Remington Blacktop invoice, or you already paid it on you guys?
I haven't paid it yet. I'm going to come up with a motion for it, please.
I'll introduce it.
I'll second.
All right. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Farrell,
Yes.
Supervisor O'Neill,
Yes. Motion passes.
Do you need one for the asphalt too?
I'm going to say yes. It's been a previous expense, but I just wanted it to be brought before the board, so I am asking for a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Excellent. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Farrell,
Yes.
Supervisor O'Neill,
Yes. Oh, I do have one more item for old business before we can move on. And I apologize. It hasn't skipped my mind, but has been tabled upstairs until spring. And that is, I have had people ask me about the Frank Thomas Field and Trails signage that that John Thomas had proposed in December and was unanimously passed by the board. I have not worked on it in any way, shape, or form. And it's not any disrespect in that aspect. I just, mentally, it has checked out until April. You know what I mean? The ground's not soft enough to put anything into it, so I really hadn't thought about a sign yet. I would like to discuss several signs, actually 3 of them to be specific. The field, the bridge, and right here on the side of the building right above our offices. I would like to replace the old sign where the ivy has been faded and it just looks like white block paint, spray paint letters that says Stony Creek offices or town offices. I'd like to upgrade that. I don't have quotes on it yet. I will get those for the next meeting. And I'd like to donate that old sign with the ivy on it to the Historical Society, the association, for their schoolhouse and for their town project. So that way we can upgrade this, bring that over to the Historical Society so we don't lose it. and then discuss the two signs, the one for Frank's Field and for that little footbridge going into the field. I wanted to bring that up. If any of you guys want to help me with that, or if you have any ideas, by all means, please stop by the office. Like I said, in all due respect, I did kind of mentally check out on it, even though it was agreed to in December, simply because the weather has not been exactly cooperative for putting in signposts and adding new signage, but that's no reason to let it fall at the wayside. With that being said, I think we can move on to committee reports. Food pantry. The freezer has been installed for the food pantry. We moved the refrigerator over for the youth group to use. It's over on the other wall now. We are looking for donations of frozen meat items like chickens or hamburger. We haven't contacted the North Country Ministries yet, but I did talk to the folks at Price Chopper, so I'll be getting hold of their public relations and promotions and seeing if they might be able to donate to our food pantry, or perhaps some, like, the other thing I want to talk to them about was like gift cards, because it's not reasonable for us to like provide eggs and milk with the way they expire and the changing of prices regularly. However, if we could get some gift cards to like Price Chopper, Stewart's has been known for that, but if we do, I want to make sure that they're like grocery only, if that makes sense. Because the whole idea behind the food pantry is nutrition and food and wellness. And I would feel awful if someone was buying gas and cigarettes or something of that nature with the donations or the proceeds or with a gift card. So again, I've been looking for maybe grocery store type gift cards that we could have donated or that we could provide for an emergency. So if someone had a Red Cross issue or something of that nature where they absolutely needed assistance, we could get them, a week's worth of food on a moment's notice, as it were. We're not there yet, but that's what we're working towards.
Stewart's will give you gift cards, but it's usually for coffee and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I'm not against coffee. I drink plenty of it myself. I want to make sure that it goes towards stuff that can be edible, food. That's all. Let's see. I have been gathering up information for the youth group to submit to the county for funding. And I've been talking to Kathy and going over it with Sue Maury over there at the county. And it looks super promising to expand on the program. And I've had them talking to Thousand Acres about possible horseback riding. We already do get funding for the it's not horseshoes, but yeah,
Cornhole.
that's the one for the cornhole tournament. But again, the cornhole tournament, because we already have the boards and stuff, the funding that we're seeking now is towards like the snacks and the payroll for oversight of the kids and supervision of that nature. So what we're thinking about is like for the prizes, rewards, teams, and then of course we're trying to get into the summer program. So the way that it was discussed and described to me at the county level is essentially we have the youth development program, which is all of the activities that we have funding for through the town. Now we have the opportunity to get with the youth sports programs and the youth sports, not league, but with the New York's sports programs through the county. This is considered physical education and outdoor activities. And that's where the program of like horseback riding, soccer, kickball, the outdoor and summer program, we can get funding for the buses if we're bringing the kids to and from. Another big thing is for education. I was hoping that we might be able to submit and get maybe some funding towards museums and museum type trips. We have a lot of younger children, but I would like to expand it to the greater residents of the town as far as kids go. So we were hoping that we'll have multiple age sets. Like for horseback riding, I think there's, 6 to 17 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not stringent, but if your child falls in that age group, we would love to have them participate because it helps the town as a whole. The more kids that are involved, the better things that we can get done. It's that simple as far as demographics go. The more children that we can get involved in the youth program, the more the youth program can do to help them in the town. Moving along, my apologies. Does anyone have anything else to add to the youth group discussion? All right. I have a lot of truck bids for pickup trucks. And at this time, Ferraro of Elmira, which is a JD Power dealership, and Crystal of Chestertown, Warrensburg, have been the two closest in comparison and price for what the town's highway crew request. Crystal also included lease info in case we wanted to start a turnaround program, which is something that we are interested in. However, I don't feel that we're prepared to enter into it at this time. It is good to have that information at hand. And this is available for any of you guys that would like to read through them. But it has all of the pedigree information that was requested. All of the details, bed liners, plow frame, 410 gears, gas powered for, the power and the maintenance. If we did the lease program, we could do with the diesel because we wouldn't have to have the maintenance in-house. So like the specialty sensors and all of those items could be taken care of. However, being that we're looking to purchase this vehicle and having discussed it with the guys, we think a gas-powered V8 would be the way to go. And I can't blame them. Having gone through the specifications, it should be one amazing work truck for a Dodge 3500. And this would replace the F-350 that's falling around itself. And for the record, when I say comparable, I do mean that a brand new pickup truck with all the bells and whistles and the plow set up, auxiliary switches, everything that you want on it, is still a $64,000 to $74,000 purchase. So, I'm not taking this lightly. I've looked at the funding and the financing. I found a financing company that works for municipalities and will put off our first payment until September or when we're able to put it into our budget so that we can do our first payment and then our next payments through the budget. So it's not an immediate expense that taxes the taxpayers without expecting it.
And are these state contract bids or?
Yes, this is through the Office of General Services,
Okay.
OGS. They gave me a list of 25 different dealerships, and I got responses from 7.
Okay.
And they're all quality vehicles. Obviously, they're all brand new. But like I said, with the stringent requests, like for all the nuts and bolts and the things that the guys want it to do and need it to do, I was able to narrow down the thing down to these 2 preferreds, and then the third one would be the backup.
If you buy it in Elmira, will they service it in Warrensburg?
They will, under the warranty. Being that it is a Dodge, it should still have the 100. That's another thing is the warranty. Being a Dodge, it should have the 100,000 mile, 10-year bumper to bumper warranty. Getting it through Crystal, I know they have a warranty for commercial grade vehicles. So that'd be something that we'd be adding to it which is another upcharge, but it also gives us more parts and maintenance issues later on for repairing it, or less issues later on for repairing it. Ford does not offer a 10-year. I believe it was 5. It's like a 565. Which, I mean, if we can do a turnaround program for 5 years, that'd be awesome. But I expect to hang on to this truck probably 10 years and start a turnaround program on some of the other vehicles to try to, get us into the current decade. And the other thing is with getting trucks that our crew doesn't have to work on, frees them up to work on the equipment that they need to work on. The dump trucks, the heavier stuff, the front end loaders, the tractors and such, which I think is a huge benefit. Man hours. Excellent.
So when you're looking to purchase it?
Well, I mean, it was already approved last month. However, like I said, I wanted to get all these bids together. I would like to start the paperwork on it as soon as it's approved. I was going to make a motion tonight that we approve one of these two. My personal vote is to Crystal on this because of how easy it is for us to get stuff done. But obviously, I'm not here to make that decision on it. If you need more time, I can table it, and we can go over them more thoroughly. But I feel they've provided excellent information, and they're waiting for me to give them the email that says that they are awarded the bid.
So are we bonding for it, or are we purchasing it outright, or?
It's going to be a financed
Okay.
NLP, which is the same way Thurman buys all of their equipment and their pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically a municipal financing company. So you tell them what it is you're buying and where you're buying it from. They take over on the bank's behalf from basically like the state of New York, saying, okay, the town is buying this. We go to them and say, we can afford to do it. We can give you this much on September. And then that's my example because that's when the budget's best for me.
Mm-hmm.
But we can give you this much on this date, and it could be next week, or we could set it up for 3 months, or however is budgetable.
Mm-hmm.
That's my big thing. And because I do have 2 bonds this year, one we have to discuss later on in the year. But you go through this company, they take over for the bank or the state's portion, and they do the financing. Then they give you a fixed rate interest, and you pay them through a structured plan. And like I said, my plan on it would be if we set it up for the first payment in September, so that way I know we can afford it and we have some taxes coming back in. Then next year we'd get it paid off, and I would conservatively say that we'd be paid off in 18 months. But it can be stretched out further depending on what our budget requires, which is the huge part of it to me, because I don't have an issue with stretching out the payments. I have an issue with draining the money in the first half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to do that. Now, you may notice that there are fewer local dealerships in there. I had sent all of this information to all of them as well. So Greenwich Ford got back to me promptly. However, Warren Ford required an FIN number that we had gotten from the town clerk. And when we gave it to them, I don't know if it was an old one or if it was a previous one or something, then they were unable to get it. So it began another from the beginning process. And I had sent them the bid information. However, they didn't get back to me, and it's not like a large profit margin for a dealership. Again, most of their money comes from service and asking us to, bring it back whenever there's an issue or for any maintenance that needs to be done. And that's the bid process right there. So did you want to table it? Would you like me to make a motion?
I'd like to look at the financing options,
Perfect.
so.
Not a problem.
For that.
I'd be happy to table it for one more month, get the financing locked down for you if you'd like.
Thank you.
And that would also provide the other members to be here. So we'll have that on the agenda for March. Just let me write that down real quick. All right. Committee reports for the Parks and Rec. I have that Josh is completing 3 new picnic tables in assembly to replace the weathered ones that have been beat up down at the town park. I stopped in the other day. They're looking really nice. He's doing a great job on them. And I'm hoping that they last quite a bit longer when they get their second coat on. I spoke to Soil and Water Conservation District. They're looking at helping us with 2 or 3, perhaps, dry hydrants. We'll be talking again with them here in March to see about the locations and to get a rough draft of the idea and put a plan in place. That's helpful both to our fire company on the one end and to our homeowners insurance on the other, because more water sources and hydrants means better homeowners insurance, depending on how far you live from a hydrant or a firehouse. Let's see. Moving along. The chamber has us listed for advertising, so I saw out some alternative ads for Mountain Days and for the town to expand our voice at the county through the advertising and tourism departments. And I found they have one ad in a book called Guest Quest. It is a magazine that's distributed for tourism. Now, with the same amount of money, which is $2,800, that has been put in the budget for that and has been requested, that's what it will cost for the Guest Quest advertisement. I've talked to and looked at and discussed with the county. They suggested maybe local ADK, which is found more in Saratoga, Warren, and Washington counties, as an advertising and tourism book. And they recommended Adirondack Life. I looked into what it would cost to advertise with them, and ironically, I could advertise with both of them for the same $2,800. So I would like a motion to advertise in Adirondack Life and local ADK for this summer's events. And then if more tourism money opens up for the opportunity, because I've already talked to the county about putting them in the county's Lake George flyers. So if more money for advertising presents itself, I'd like to discuss with you guys later on a possible radio ad or to jump in, even if we split the cost with some of the other towns to get a plug on the radio. I think, 98.5 WCKM or one of the local stations would be a really nice touch. And I think it might help with our logging event and with Mountain Days in general, as well as the other organizations in town.
Lake George TV, I think is what it's called. They reach out quite a bit for different organizations.
Yeah, Lake George TV. There's Channel 8 out of Glens Falls. Technically, so WCKM, which is 98.5, is also owned or owns 2 other radio channels or radio stations, technically, but channels. And I haven't talked to them on the price yet because that tends to be expensive. So I've got to wait before I can even present that to you folks. However, I just want you to know that as spring gets closer and the events get closer, I'm trying to make sure that we keep on top of this so that way we get more interest and more people to come. So I'd make a motion to advertise for the same $2,800 that was earmarked in local ADK and Adirondack Life as opposed to advertising in Guest Quest.
I'll second it.
Because it's money, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Farrell,
Yes.
Supervisor O'Neill.
Yes. Motion carries. All right. Moving right along. The town of Stony Creek is looking for a lifeguard. We're accepting applications. The training is paid, and the preferred ages are 16 and up. It doesn't say what the exact cutoff is. However, it is a seasonal position for the summertime and would be perfect for a high school or college age student. Seniors, please be aware we do pay for training. And if you want to work on your tan, spending some time at the park would be the greatest place. Please stop by the Stony Creek Town Hall, pick up an application, or give us a call at 518-696-3575. Extension 300. Ben Driscoll, who is our representative and our liaison with the Catholic Charities, is going to be providing us with the blue bags of food distribution for our food pantry. And again, we're looking for donations of frozen meat products, small sealed packages preferred, chicken, hamburger in the cubes or in the tube, gift cards to the local grocery store. Again, we would try to keep them small. So instead of 3 $75 cards, we'd rather have 5 $25 cards or anything like that, if that makes sense. $25 to $30 is easier to distribute to more families. And again, we do have items here. So the items that we're trying to distribute as far as gift cards go are, the perishable bread, milk, cheese, things of that nature that it just is. I mean, we could stock it here, but it's not realistic to stock things that are going to expire in 2 weeks as opposed to having a freezer that's good for 3 months. Okay. Just wanted to say thank you to them. Is there any other committee reports or information?
You had talked to me about the town's AEDs. So
Yes.
I've given you guys a sheet there for owning and managing your AEDs. So things that we didn't realize when we got into AEDs is that they now require a yearly prescription. They're considered a medical device. So this company that I work for, Strategic Emergency and Training out of Queensbury, I do teach CPR courses under them. So they offer this managing the AED. Spoon Lake, or the town of Spoon Lake just went with them, and a few other agencies. Newcomb's looking into it right now. So basically, anytime an AED is used, a patient care report has to be done. The unit has to be sent to a medical director. It has to be downloaded. A report has to be created for the FDA and for the regional EMS. They do all of this for $150 a year per AED. They'll also set you up with a tracking app. So once a month, somebody will have to go in, open the cabinet, scan a QR code on it, which will track into the system they set you up with. And that just shows that we are doing our due diligence to make sure that they are operational. And then they offer discounts for AEDs, for the batteries, the pads, and so forth. So they work with Mount Sinai Hospital out of Westchester County. So that's where the medical director is. And then if we do use one, like we have it at the town hall or the garage, or for whatever reason we use it, they'll bring us a brand new AED. So that AED will be sent out to be serviced. They'll send us a new one in a box. We'll just switch them out, mail it down to them, and then they'll refurbish it and send it back to us. So, like I said, they offer full training services. This is actually, I'll give that to you, John. His business card's inside of that one.
Perfect.
And so they offer CPR, first aid. They do PESH, OSHA, all of that as well. So they train nationally. They have instructors, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. They do a lot of movie set standbys, things like that for EMTs looking for work. But so they're into a little bit of everything. But as far as the AED management, it's $150 per AED, and I think there's a bulk discount on it, but I forget how many AEDs. I think it's more than 5. They'll start to reduce the price. So,
Okay. But you said it was 150 a year?
yeah, per AED. It's not
Yeah.
per.
No, I got
So,
it.
and then they'll look at your AED, make sure that it's, you know, we have the newer Zolls, so they're still very serviceable, but there's been a few recalls. The American Heart ones that I had in my truck were actually both on recall. So they've been sent out and refurbished. But I know the town of Bolton was looking into it. They ended up going with Hudson Headwaters, and it was like $8,000 a year because their medical director wanted full insurance. So, and they are only doing like 5 AEDs. So I forwarded this program over to them. So hopefully they can make a different decision next year. But so it just gives you the tracking. Like I said, once a month, somebody's got to go scan that QR code and log that the light's green, and it still works. So.
All right. That's excellent. Excellent information. Now, I know ours, we just checked it.
Mhm.
The batteries say that it's good. It should be perfect to use. However, I do know that we do need to get some pediatric pads ordered for it. So we might have to act on this promptly.
I'll say plus, I think 2 years ago was the last year that I had a agreement with Dr. Williams for medical direction on it. So,
Yeah, I didn't look at I know it has some paperwork in there with it, but I'm pretty sure that was in case of activation. So I do not know if there is a doctor's autograph in the back of it or not, but I am sure that when it was established, there was.
Mhm.
Do you need to, would the board like me to begin calling this and setting this up? Or would you like me to table it until next month so that we can get other prices? I mean, $150 a year per AED is extremely reasonable by anyone's standards in this area. I can tell you that. Sure.
The AEDs, this plan works with our current AEDs. We don't have to purchase new ones. It's covered under our current
Yep.
ones.
yeah, they'll look at your current AEDs. They're the newer Zolls, so I don't see where it'd be a problem.
Okay.
So that would be the first question for them. But yeah,
Okay, and then the QR code that you're speaking of to keep it active, you have to have an account with that, I would assume?
yeah. So they'll set it up under this program. So they'll bring it in. There'll be a sticker on the AED cabinet, and then whoever's in charge of that will just scan it in once a month, and it basically creates the record that you are checking it monthly.
Okay, so it'd be like a generic login that you know to
Yep.
whomever at the town hall or whomever at the garage.
Whoever has that, yep.
Okay.
So.
I make a motion to go ahead,
Okay.
start looking into it.
You can't have done it.
I was waiting for him. He's got a, no,
You lose a quorum,
I'm not gonna, she's making the motion. He's got a,
right? But you can't, you don't have enough for a quorum for a vote.
Yeah,
to enter into the contract. Yes, no, I understood that.
Okay,
But I gotta
yeah,
get
Just
my
wanted to
3
make sure.
prices.
yeah, no, that's fine, I just want to make sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, so yes. The motion as it is to investigate and enter in this so that I can get prices without actually beginning the agreement. Okay. So I will have the prices of his competitors for next month, and I will have whatever information it requires to make sure that we can get this signed and taken care of next month.
So AED Superstore offers a similar, if you're just looking for comparison.
Mhm.
And then I don't know who else you would call. Hudson Headwaters, I know just did one for.
Yeah,
Bolton, but
that's
Scroonlet, like I said, Scroonlet just went through this as well, so I talked with one of their board members.
Oh, I have no doubt. And just, I mean, we all know that from what they charged Bolton on that one, yeah, that Mr. Dunkley's definitely going to have a leg up on the per unit cost. But like I said, I'm going to do the due diligence, and that way I can say, hey, this would save us a lot of money, guys.
Like I said, I teach under them. I'm not an employee of theirs. It just, they handle my AHA cards. So I purchase my cards through their program.
Absolutely. Any other committees or old business? Okay. We'll begin some new business. So under new business, I have LOSAP, which is the fire department's retirement program awards. Service award program. I'll pass this over to you guys so you can take a look at it. So what you have in front of you is the list of volunteers who earned a service credit during 2025, having been certified by an officer of the department that it's accurate. And those are accurate points. And once you've reviewed it and you feel that it is accurate, it would be appreciated if we could have your autograph for approval. And then I can submit it to the state. And we'll be one step closer to having completed 2025. To say, me and Nate are familiar with it from having been corporate officers at the firehouse at a time or two. They just made it so that you get to autograph more often. Thank you, because I want to make sure that I said the right nomenclature. I didn't want to enter into the agreement until after I got the paperwork. Thank you. All right. In front of you is a swim program pamphlet there, or packet, I should say. folder.
This requires a resolution.
Oh, my apologies. I do require a resolution to approve it. If I could have a,
I'll make a motion.
thank you. And if I may have a
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All in favor, none opposed. The motion carries. Next up, I have a program in front of you called Swim Program for Salt Reduction. Now, that is a $3,800 program for us to enter into. And they offer us 2 dedicated grant writers and a program manager. The program manager would come here for a dedicated amount of time and a number of man hours dedicated just to our portion of the program. With that, they would enter into grants for equipment. They would try to curtail it for what we would need for our program, if that makes sense. So they're not going to enter into grants for stuff that we don't need. They're going to say, okay, well, you have these tanks, you have this system, maybe you need pumps on your truck, or maybe, personally, I'd like it if they bought us 4,000 gallons of Magic O to mix with our salt and brine to lower the temperature down. But that's an entirely different conversation to have with those guys if we were in this program. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to review it. I would then ask for at least next month's meeting, minimum, that we make a decision on whether to join or not. Again, it's $3,800 a year. They will give us 3 grant writers, 2 of which are dedicated to their company just to write grants, and a program manager who will dedicate specific man hours to just the town of Stony Creek for the purpose of salt reduction and expanding on our program for the highway. Yes, sir.
Phil Braxton or Rob Fox will be there next month. After the, so explain in detail with any questions you may or may not have about the programs. There's, if I remember right, $3,800 is both programs, but I don't know if that's 100% true.
Okay.
But there is 2 programs. There's a swim program, and there's, I think it's art or something like that. And I know I give me some of the information.
Yeah, I have the information. And they had that seminar in Lake George 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, they do the salt summit every year.
Yep.
I think last year was in Buckman.
Last time they had it in Lake George, they had quite a bit of information.
Yeah, we went through it on the lake there.
So those gentlemen will be here at the next meeting. They'll answer all of our questions. And like I said, if you'd like to take that program information with you, then it will definitely be something worth looking into. I feel like if we can get into a program that obviously the county and the other towns are working with, like some of that stuff is super expensive, but it's so worth it. I mean, the live edges on the plows alone, they literally squeegee the pavement clean. You can't ask for a better surface than that. Moving on to my next item. Miss Farrell and Miss Bradley brought back some info on NICLAS, which is the municipal investment with a guaranteed returns and interest from the state of New York. Again, I was kind of hoping that there'd be another member on the end of their table there. But so with that, it essentially, we do CDs through Arrow Financial. We get a pretty good return. That would be a state-sponsored program of the same idea. So instead of having Arrow Financial hold our money at a guaranteed rate of X% over so many months, NICLAS has this much as our going rate, and we can pick the term for the length of term in which they hold on to it. I think that with like federal income insurance and deposit insurance and the restrictions some banks have and financial have, I think it'd be worth putting our money into NICLAS as well. diversifying it for the town's betterment. I'll let you read that over. I'll table it until March, but being that we'll table it till March, it is something that I think we should aggressively pursue. As you know, we know what our budget is now. We know we're going to need this much for the bonds and such that are coming up. So it would be silly not to put the money in an interest account before spending a large chunk of it on bills that are already guaranteed at a certain date. Moving along. Our .gov is being finalized, implemented at this time. The Warren County IT man, Mike Colvin, has been helping us out quite a bit with that. And we've been approved by the federal government, the county, and now he's going to be, through Microsoft, bringing up, and we'll have our website. Then we'll have a social media for only doing as a bulletin board, essentially. Our website is going to be links to the YouTube channel, links to the Facebook, to any other advertising that we might be doing or fellowship we might be joining with Lake George and stuff, links to the county's website. And then our social media policy, which I do not have to implement at this time because it had to be revised again due to legalities. We are going to be making as simple as possible. Each individual is represented as themselves and does not represent the town of Stony Creek and is not authorized to voice an opinion for the town of Stony Creek. They are representing themselves as individuals. We're going to keep it super simple. But with the .gov, that allows us our official website. It allows us our official emails. And it also gets us into, like I said, better spending, I guess is the best way to describe, because the advertising is free on social media for us to provide for events so that they can tag along on the back end of that. With that being said, we also are, or having been, we're joining Warren County's IT program. In doing so, the town will be able to enjoy the benefits of the IT program Warren County has established. We don't have a lot of issues with our technology because we keep our technology really simple. However, it's a huge benefit because if something happens, they'll be able to help us with it. They'll come out and help us with it. The rates are reduced. Everything about it is a benefit to the town of Stony Creek, and the county's already got the program in place. So it's not like we have to change anything. We don't have to volunteer any information. They literally come and help us fix what's broken, which is fantastic. You couldn't ask for a better program. More electronics. So we have a mega copier. However, it does not have a fax modem attached to it. We have a antiquated fax machine in the hallway. To put our fax machine as to our business machine as a fax machine and to have it hooked up that way, it would require approximately $400. That's a rough guesstimate because it's $290 for the part, and then for an hour and a half of their time at $95 an hour. However, that would get our warranty enhanced. It would get our copier fax office machine onto the fax machine line, and we wouldn't have to have 2 or 3 machines doing the job one machine is designed to do. I would need a motion and an agreement if you guys are interested in doing that. Again, I feel that it would benefit the building because we wouldn't be buying ink cartridges for this, that, and the other thing. And it's really hard to find toner for the fax machine in the hallway. It's very old. Would anyone like to make a motion for $400 purchase to upgrade our office machine to do what it's supposed to do?
I'll make a motion for the upgrade up to 500 to give a little wiggle room.
I'll second that.
All right, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Farrell,
Yes,
Supervisor O'Neill,
Yes. All right, up to $500 to improve our office machine into a copier, fax, and singular business machine like it's supposed to be.
Oh, you have to run cable or anything, you don't have it.
I mean, we should be all set. Like I said, it should not be rocket science, but not having the parts is, I can't do much without the parts, and that's where they have us. So again, it is a win-win. We have the machine, we already buy the toner and everything for it. To not use it for that purpose is mind-blowing to me. I would like to begin looking for a CCTV system for the building, which goes back to when we were talking about security. I was talking to Heather and Sandra from the court system here. They do have some grant money for upgrades. I do not think it's going to cover a CCTV system for this building. However, I think that having one that covers the meeting room, the entrances, the exits, the garage, the fuel shed, I think that would be advantageous, both to protect the assets of the town more, but also to create a area of safety, as it were, observation, to know if someone's stealing salt or fuel, to know if somebody's just using the lot, playing on the Wi-Fi for several hours, and to know that they're getting use out of it. I have no issues with people using the Wi-Fi. If we had the payphone out here again, those services is not a problem. I just, a locked window keeps honest people honest because it's a window. So I feel that having the security measure would be an upgrade that would put us again catching up to the 20th century. I will price those out and present them at the next meeting. And if you guys have any ideas or if there's anything that you'd like to add, I would absolutely appreciate it. Especially since we have some time before the next meeting to gather any data or find anything that would be more advantageous, a recording device of some sort. That way it can be stored on site, and if there's an issue, it can be reviewed almost instantly.
didn't we look in the camera?
We did.
We saw all this purpose.
Probably.
All right. Number 9, I do not have any budget adjustments listed in front of me. So we have nothing to adjust for 2026 budget this month. I'd like to move on to privilege of the floor. Is there anything that anyone would like to bring before the town board? Which did it? Oh, one moment. I will call you in just a moment, sir. You're absolutely right. I did skip one bulletin point under new business. I would like the town's permission to hire another full-time employee. I have some applicants. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus because it's an employee matter. We have a couple of people that will no longer be tending to the trails, which is a huge loss to the Parks Department and to the upkeep of the parks area. It's a burden that I don't think Josh and a part-time employee would be able to handle. So what I'm proposing is that we hire one more full-time employee, and that person will work for the Parks Department and then also float for the other departments of town. For instance, when the Highway Department is doing paving, it would be advantageous to have this person directing traffic instead of having a CDL operator at a higher level pay or higher level of training directing traffic when they could be in an equipment, on a roller in a dump truck doing that. I think having this additional person for that would be huge. I've been having Josh help out Neil because he's been down a truck with the town's pickup. Having one person that can do that while having another person who's available to actually use the equipment or to snow blow or to just focus on walkways or be it whatever, I think having that additional person would be huge. Again, we lost 2 to 3 people who were doing the trails and the parks during the summertime. They won't be coming back. They've retired from it. I've had 4 applicants. 2 want to do part-time. 1 is looking to fill in as people retire, and 1 is looking for a job to go full-time as soon as available. So I would like to have a motion made to hire a person, and I would like to get them started on the second week of March, if possible.
So is this gonna be a union position? Is it full-time or part-time?
This would be a full-time position,
Okay.
but it would be a full-time laborer position.
What's that? I know that. That's what I'm just trying to figure out as far as higher wage, because I know we had problems with wage discrepancy in the past, so.
So this would be a laborer position. They would go at the same rate that we are currently paying our laborers. I believe that's 1936 an hour. 19,
I think that's right.
Yeah. I believe it's 1936 an hour, which is above minimum wage, but expected for a laborer's position. You're going to get what you pay for. I mean, it's not a CDL
I
position.
just want to know if we're
No.
starting them at minimum wage or if we're starting them.
Isn't there another town?
I'd have to look at the budget. I don't have a copy in front of me.
No, isn't there another, I should know this, but I don't. There's another line in there for another wage too, but I don't have a count.
All right.
I didn't know you bring it up.
Well, I'm bringing that before the board. I haven't hired the person for it yet as far as their start date. I have 4 applications that I have reviewed and gone over, and I think that if we do this for the second week, like I said, if I can get this person, if I can get somebody to start in the second week of March or the third week of March at the latest.
Just because it is union, is there a procedure for hire?
I don't believe
Okay.
so.
Not yet. They have to put in the application. They have to fill out their health care stuff, their retirement stuff, and then any training would be
I just
what
want-
we
at the-
determine to be on the
at
job
county
training.
level, I know it has to be
Well, yeah,
offered in-house first and then offered out of house second. It
yeah.
has to hang for so many
So, yeah.
days.
You do actually have to, you have to offer it in-house.
So,
So anyone here who's hired through the town wants it first.
Yeah.
And then if you go outside of it.
so just the CSEA.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I can call up. I have the applications. Going through it is not an issue with the people that have already applied and that have their applications in house and have worked for the town in the last 2 or 3 years. Everything is set up. The only thing I need to do is just get an additional person, full-time person, to start getting stuff done. So that way, this is like the moment snow is gone. I need Josh to start on them cemeteries so that the town park is ready, so that the signage for Frank's Field is ready. Memorial Day's off, there's a lot to be done, and we're already down 2 to 3 people to get it even started yet. So I just want to fill in the gaps before there's gaps. And the gaps are coming up quick as time passes.
So what do you call it? Labor position
Yes, a laborer for the parks.
for parks?
Yep.
And then we'll have to figure out discussion rate if we loan out to the highway department or.
Well, I figured the running rate has been the running rate, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And because we pay, so without going into too much,
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
because of what rate we are paying the current members of our employees, I feel that it would be, the laborer's position would be the same as the going rate of what we're paying at the 1936. And then if we were to loan them out, obviously it'd be for the project of whatever nature, but their payroll is still going to be 40 hours a week. There's not going to be an overtime on that unless that would come out of snow removal, which is an entirely separate budget item. Does that make sense?
No, I hear you.
Like I'm not going to ask anyone to work overtime. That's not they're not salaried to work overtime. So that's, you know what I mean? And then the only time people who are in that position do get overtime is usually in a catastrophic event. You know, a beaver flood and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when they're absolutely needed.
Okay.
Snow
I
emergency.
just want to make sure that we know, what we're hiring. I know
Yes.
the last laborer that we hired was quite incidental for a while, so. And then is there any standpoint of we have to advertise this to the public, or do we just go off what we have?
So this position, I don't have any position that I have nothing that says we have to advertise it in public for like it's not like a school position.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to put it in the paper. Like I said, I do have several applicants already on our file. And to my knowledge, if you wanted to go to an executive session to discuss personnel matters, that's fine. I just don't feel that it's necessary for the February meeting. But again, like I said, as the snow begins to melt, we're going to have to get more stuff done. And we're running out of help on the number of hands to do it. So,
I'm just looking, cost wise, and you had a full-time position. I mean, even if you had 2 part-timers that you're replacing, you've got health insurance, you've got retirement, you've got paid
Well,
time off.
it's
you've got-
three part-timers that I'm replacing.
Mhm.
And I don't know the rates that those 3 part-timers worked at, but I do know that when I did the math on it, the 3 part-timers were more than it would be to have paid just one person full-time to have them do the job year-round. It wasn't a ton of money more, but it was considerable. It was like $2,700 or so, in expenses. And then there's the other contract thing is that we've had part-time laborers who work over the 180 days, not this year. And that's a big contract no-no because it's 180 days, then off for 90 days and then back on before you can get back on. Is it?
The wording, I think it actually says calendar year, so it's like you can hire them for 180 days this year, but then you can't use them until next year. But there's also the fact that it's 2 different departments. This is general, that's highway. It's like McDonald's and Burger King. So you can work them 40 hours here or 30 hours here, and you can work them 20 hours here. It's 30 hours straight time, it's 20 hours straight time. There is no overtime. So it does have to cut down costs.
Why is it, you only work so many days, because then you gotta pay benefits,
Over 180 days to become a full-time employee of the town.
and then it's the benefits.
Well, and then you're,
Not this, but us, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to offer them benefits as union members. Absolutely. So like I said, the highway is an entirely different animal and it runs on a different contract. But the Parks and Rec department is going to be severely short-staffed and short-handed if we don't do something. All right. So before things seem like they're going to the wayside, I want to get ahead of them. That's all. I want to make sure that we're on track. Does anyone have any other comments? Thoughts? Additions to discuss? Now we're moving on to number 9, budget adjustments, 2026. We have no budget adjustments for this month. Moving on to number 10, privilege of the floor. I believe there was a comment out there.
I just was wondering, for the music,
Mm-hmm.
the $500, when we have, music in the park, it all comes out of bed tax money. Why, it's gonna be tourism, the reason we have the music, why can't it come out of bed tax money?
I mean, I could take it out of bed tax money as far as taking it from, and
From the town, it's $500.
but so if I take it out, I wanted to make sure that the town board knew that we were paying this $500 and the reason why we're paying it before I took it out of any budget or took it out of the bed tax money.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to be a surprise And if somebody had, bed tax money's not earmarked like that in essence. It's more of like a grant program as far as like if your organization applies for bed tax money and the town grants it to you for an event, all right, what we're doing is we're saying it'll cost this much and you've already got this much in receipts. So we're actually paying for those receipts to make sure that the event goes through. Now with these concerts, taking the bed tax out of it is not an issue for the point of tourism, but this is not an advertisement. This is for the privilege of playing those songs at these concerts. Does that make sense?
Well, it's just that you're paying the band,
Yes.
and it's just another cost of having the band. So I would think it would cover under the bed tax money.
No, I can take it out of the bed tax.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be a surprise as these guys are looking at where I spend the bed tax and where I spend everybody's tax dollars. I didn't want you or the town board to say, this guy just threw $500 out the window. What's he doing?
Well,
I wanted to let you know this is,
they've been paying it for all along. So.
well, not all along, for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
This is new. I mean, it's not, I've never known about it and I've never heard about it before taking this job.
Yeah.
But as I went through it, it has been since like 2022 or 2023. So it has been the last 3 or 4 years. And it's important to know that this is the cost of doing business. So I just wanted to make sure that as part of transparency, I brought it forward. That's all. So yes, you won't see it come out of yours and it won't, hurt your tax dollars in that aspect or anything.
I was wondering why,
But I wanted to bring it up before the board before I put it as, before it was removed so that everybody knows this is what we're doing with the money. That's
and
all.
then just 2 other things.
Sure.
At the Dean's Farm, they have a beautiful sign. Whoever made that sign, it would look so nice that they do one for Frank Thomas's park, because then you got almost the same type signs.
Similar.
Back, and I think it
Yeah.
looks beautiful. I don't know who made it, but it was Brooks but it's a beautiful sign, and whoever they purchased that sign from, it would be, I think it would just look nice.
I'd absolutely happily look into that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And one more thing, it's like
Certainly.
about the truck. I think the bids and stuff that you have, I think you ought to pass them around to the garage so they should have some kind of say they're going to be using it, which
Actually,
model, which truck they like.
so
They might have done it already.
Before I put it out to bid through the OGS, before I brought it to the state's bidding system, I went through with the guys and sat down and I said, listen, the town board has approved a pickup truck. I'm not going to go to the dealership and pick up whatever's on the lot. I need to know exactly what you need because you have to understand we might not be getting you another pickup truck for a decade or, I'm trying to make a turnover program, but at this time I can't guarantee it. I can guarantee them one truck to replace the one that's just falling to pieces. And if they spec it out and which they have, everything about it when it arrives will be to their needs. All right. This isn't anything that I planned on taking home. It's nothing that it won't do me any good. I said, you obviously need a 3,500 or a 4,500. There's certain packages and this and that and all the pedigree information. They know better than I do. So I said, guys, I spec it out. Tell me what it needs to have. And I'll make sure that when I put it out to bid, it has every item listed so that when they return the information, which is probably why I have, 7 bids instead of 17 bids. But
want to hear, oh, I need that truck.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I understand that completely, and every vehicle has, I won't say gremlins, but I will say that quirks. These guys have done a great job to make sure the information I have is perfect. And for the vehicle that they're requesting is what they need. All right. We're not going to get them. They're not getting a Ford Ranger and being told that it's an F-250. I got you. Absolutely. No, I wouldn't do that to them. That's awful. I wouldn't do that. Remember, it's brought to you by the lowest bidder. Is there any other comments or questions from the floor?
I just want to reiterate that the food pantry right now is completely out of any So if anybody's coming to the food pantry looking for meat right now, we don't have any. We are going to, pick up more food in the beginning of the month for Melinda.
Yes, Monday.
Monday. First 2 days of the month.
Well,
To go
yeah.
get more, but I don't have a guarantee. I know I'm getting frozen chicken, whole chickens, but I don't think we're gonna get much of anything else. So if anybody is able or willing to donate any kind of meat products, that would be amazing. But we have 3 boxes of like 30 chickens coming, so 3 more chicken.
Chicken for everybody.
Chicken for you.
Thank you for that update. Thank you for that comment. All right. Without any other privileges of the floor or any other comments or questions, I'm going to call this meeting to adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that will end the meeting for tonight.